Go,
All
Dawn.
righty, perfect.
I
Take
love
two.
it.
Take two.
Take two. Oh, Dawn.
Hey, it's a Sunday, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Down. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the Open Mic Foundation. I am Seshni Naidu. I am the Open Mic Foundation owner. Thank you so much. It is a Sunday afternoon in South Africa, and we have Dawne Hanks from Portland, Oregon, that's here. Thank you so much, Dawn, for joining us today. I do appreciate your time this early morning, guys, that you did.
Yeah, thank you for
And
having me.
yeah, no, it's a pleasure. Don and I recently, how long do we know each other, Don?
Since February.
Really? It feels as
hmm
if I know you forever.
I know it's very strange that it's just since February.
And we speak for hours, hey? We
Yep,
really do speak for hours.
we
But yeah.
definitely do. Yeah, I
So
love
thank you
it.
so much. Hey?
I love it. I love getting to speak with you.
Oh, same, right back at you, right back at you. So, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today on this afternoon in South Africa. And for those that are streaming from the US, thank you so much for joining and from around the world as well. Today, we are talking about eliminating girl hate and eliminating self hate. But before we go into that storyline, just like to share a few things with everyone. So, for those that don't know, Open Mic has an Instagram account. Please join. The handle is Open Mic Foundation _, and you'll be able to tag us there. We also have a Open Mic YouTube channel where all of the storytellers that come in throughout the world, that also gets uploaded there. So please join us and subscribe. That would really appreciate your support. And yeah, and then obviously we have the Facebook page. So before we get into your story, Dawn, I think share a little bit about yourself.
Sure. As you said, my name is Dawne Hanks. I'm from Portland, Oregon. I'm a Portland native, so born and raised here. And I've spent the last 20 years working in marketing for sports, lifestyle, and health companies, as well as software. Strangely, it's a weird mix.
That is
Weird mix.
definitely a diverse mix for sure.
Yes. And then currently, I am the owner of a company called Eliminate Girl Hate, where
Mhm.
we work with educational institutions and organizations on gender equity and building more cohesive programs around that in their organizations.
Wow, fantastic. And I guess this is how you've alluded to the storyline, right? Eliminate
Exactly.
girl hate to eliminate self hate. And if I
Exactly.
look at where we are today, right, I think we all, have that within ourselves and we come,
Mm,
to a point in our lives, how we do look at self hate at one stage in our
for
lives. So
sure.
I just want to say thank you so much for taking this storyline of your journey, and for you to share this, throughout the world, and for you to echo how you're feeling. So I want to say thank you. Let's get into this. I'm looking so forward to hearing this. Let's go
All
for it.
right. Around the world, that's not nerve wracking at all, Shashni.
Oh
Um,
yeah, do it big, girl. Let's go big.
just
Let's go
kidding.
big.
Let's go big.
Right?
Just do it. Well, when we were talking about what we could talk about today, it's hard to come up with a subject to tell your story and kind of uh, put it in a concise kind of bag, if you will. And so I did this because this is what I care about. This is my purpose and passion, and that's why I wanted to talk about it. And I think with anything, it starts from when we are kids. I called
Mm-hmm.
my company Eliminate Girl Hate because I think that all of that hate starts when we're young and it builds as we become women and as we get out into the world and find our purpose, our passion, and what we do for a living. And so when I was a kid, I was a chatty kid. I came, as most people might say, came out of the womb talking. In my grandmother passed earlier last year, and we were going through her things, and we found my baby book, and we're looking in the baby book, and it says at 6 months I started talking in sentences in some sort of way. Now I don't know what that means or what it looks like, right? But it definitely showed that from the very beginning I wanted to talk and was doing that. I looked it up, and the average kid starts doing that at 18 months. So clearly I was ahead of the game and ahead of the curve. Um, and that desire to talk continued throughout my life. It's still there. And, as girls, we're taught that talking is not what we're really supposed to do. We get called
Yeah.
chatty, we get called bossy, we're too talkative, we should simmer down, quiet down. And those are definitely things that I've heard all of my life. And some of
Yeah.
them are probably for a valid reason. I'm very chatty. But some of them also felt very as if they were holding me down from all of the stuff that I had to get out from me, right?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a wonderful kind of folklore in our family where I'm the oldest of six. And so
Okay.
I have a brother, he and I are about a year and a half apart, and we were just very close growing up. And as the story goes, someone would ask him a question like, "What would you like to drink?" And he would look at me, I would look at him, we would nod, and then I would answer for him, "He'll have milk." Right. And so it was obviously I talked a lot, so he talked a lot less. And we had this kind of communication where I would talk for him. And it kind of became this folklore that stayed with me for my life. Right.
Okay.
Okay, Dawn's going to talk and all of these things. And every report card, right? When you go to school,
Yeah.
every report card in grading was like, she's very chatty. She needs to quiet down. She's super friendly, but it can be disruptive. I heard we want her to use her talking and leadership for positive instead of negative, because maybe I was interrupting the classroom and things like that.
Hmm.
But I was just this kid, and I'm probably still this woman who just felt like I had so much to get out and so much to put in the world. But the the rub of that was that often I spoke for others instead of speaking for myself. I was much more
Wow.
comfortable in that environment because I felt like I knew what other people wanted, because why wouldn't they want what I wanted? If that makes any sense at all, right?
That is a very interesting thing. So you spoke for others that was around you, but never
Mhm.
spoke for yourself. Why do you think
Never.
that was?
I think that you internalize things that you're told throughout your life. And
Yeah.
it's not, and I don't even mean things from your family. We all have family dynamics that
Yes.
we work through, but just the world that comes out, right? And it always seemed like talking was a negative. It always seemed like using my voice was a negative. And so in my
Ah.
brain, if I used it for other people, then it would be
Hmm.
positive because people cared about those other people and they wanted to know about them. So if I could
Okay.
help do that, right? And in a lot
Okay.
of ways, I thought I was speaking up for people when I was
Ah.
younger. And
Okay.
I realized as I aged where maybe that
Yeah.
disconnected a little bit, right? I was that kid in junior high school. I think that's intermediate school over where you're
Yes.
at, but
Yeah.
about the ages 13 to 15, I would I would be in that school and I would do sit-ins and protests and tell the school that these things weren't right and we should get rid of the Coca-Cola machine and we should fight against the Gulf War and apartheid and like you name it. I was like yelling from the rooftops to do it because it
Wow.
felt like the way that I could use my voice and that people might listen to me.
Okay.
And it didn't always happen. It didn't always happen. It still felt, I still got those report card comments. I still got comments from people. And, in actually you and I doing this kind of exercise, I wrote a note that when I was doing that, it wasn't authentic yet. I hadn't found
Yeah.
who I was yet, right? So
Yeah.
I was just trying to use my voice. I've talked to kids before in high school and told them like about finding your purpose and finding your passion and always working through it in a way where it was, for me, it always was a career that involved talking. I
Okay.
originally wanted to be a singer and an actress on Broadway. I
Oh, I could
cannot,
see you doing that. I could see you doing that.
Sheshni, I can't sing to save my life. Like, it's the worst. You can ask my brothers and sisters. They wish I would stop
Yeah.
singing all the time.
Okay.
Um, and I actually was in a choir concert in the 6th grade, 12 years old, and I got a solo. And I walk up to the microphone and I open my mouth to sing. And not only does nothing come out, I'm pretty sure I'm going to throw up. Like, I was so nervous. And I stood
Yeah.
there and I had the decision, mess up or run away. And I ran away. And it became this habit of mine where anytime I got in a position where I was about to use my voice in a way that would showcase me or
Mhm.
let you see who I was, I would and kind of run away from it. I'm a big crier. I cry all the time. You name it. If I'm happy, sad, frustrated, you name it, I'm a crier. And so I would close in on those emotions and hide in and internalize all of those feelings that I was having. And
Mhm.
honestly, it wasn't until my mid 30s where I started to speak up for others through my own experiences of pain
Ah.
that it changed kind of the dynamics of where I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
living. Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of that came from those lessons. You know, you grew up and you've got teachers and friends and family and all of these people telling you, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. And they're not doing
Mhm.
it because they don't like what you're saying or they don't like who you are as a person. They're
Mhm.
doing it because maybe you're a little chatty and maybe some other people need some space, right? But as a
Yeah.
kid, you don't see that. You internalize it and just think, wow, nobody wants to hear me. And then when you get into the workforce or into schools, college, university, and you're trying to find your way, you're
Mhm.
afraid to use that as the way to find your way, even though I now know it's my superpower, right? The
Yeah.
ability that I can talk and use my voice, not just for others, but as a way to express my pain and to turn it, you know, you and I are in a coaching group together and we
Yeah.
talk about this all the time, turning your pain into purpose. And how do you
Yeah.
take those experiences that you've gone through and use them to change your own life, but
Mhm.
also to put out into the world so that others' lives can be impacted by that and they can learn from your mistakes. As I said
Yeah.
earlier, I'm the oldest of six. So
Mm.
I've got three, oh my gosh, I almost forget what I had. I had two sisters and three brothers. And you start to realize um how you can mingle with them and the strengths that we all have and use them
Mhm.
together. And I started to listen to them as well and listen to the people around me and realizing a lot of people were having the same struggle that I was having. And it
Mhm.
really hit home for me in the work environment. Because of the way that I was as a kid, you couldn't tell
Mhm.
me nothing. I thought I could take over the world. I did not grow up in a house that said you can't do things because you're a girl. I just
Mhm.
didn't. It was never a conversation. And I was so drawn to my brother and and the men that were in our life that I
Mhm.
wanted to do everything the boys did. I wanted to play basketball. I wanted to watch wrestling. I wanted to be out there in junior high. I tried to join the wrestling team. I'm not a
Did
wrestler.
you make it? Did you make it on the wrestling team?
Well, the truth of the matter is, they wouldn't let me
Okay.
because I was a girl. And there were no other
Ah.
girls for me to wrestle back then, right? That's
Mhm.
20, 30 years ago, whatever it is, however old I am. Let's pretend I didn't say 20 to 30 years ago, people. It's like 5 or 10.
I think your sister's on the chat. I don't know.
Oh,
It could be a family member. It's
yeah,
Pamela Hanks.
that's my mom.
Is it your mom? Welcome,
Yeah, that's
mom.
my
Thank you so
mom.
much for joining.
That's my mom. um, so yeah, I went into those things and was just like, what do I do? And when I went into the workforce, I was so confident in my abilities. Some
Mhm.
might say too confident, but I really felt like, give me a chance and I'm going to do it. That was
Yeah.
really my thing. And as we know in this world, it sounds like that's great. We use it all the time. Give someone a chance and they'll blow your mind. But it doesn't mean that that's easy. You hit a
Yeah.
lot of roadblocks. You hit a lot of people telling you you're not good enough. You're showing too much of yourself, and people don't like that in the workplace.
Yeah.
Um, is it authentic or are you putting on a show? And the truth of it was authentically me at the time, right? We develop over time and we become
Yeah.
more of ourselves as we age. And I think that's a hard thing to understand when you're young. In your
Yeah.
20s, you think you know everything. And then in your 30s, you're like, gosh, thank God the 20s are over because I know some more things now and I'm feeling a little more settled. And then in your 40s, I heard this said on a talk show once that when you hit 40, all of a sudden you just stop giving a crap. You
Yeah.
start,
Yeah. Yeah. I don't give a
right?
crap.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
you don't, and you start to sit there and say, oh, they didn't like what I did, well then I'm not for them, right? I'm going to go and
Yeah.
do this for the people that I'm for. And it's unfortunate that that comes with age, and that we can't
Yeah.
have more of that as we're younger, because it does something to your self-esteem. It
Yeah.
positions you in this place as you get older to feel more confident in who you are, to
Yeah.
feel more confident in letting go of those things that you heard and you let
Mm-hmm.
them get in your way. Because
Mm-hmm.
no matter what anybody has said to me, it does not matter. It was me who let it get in my way,
Yeah.
because I was using it as this barrier for me to go and live in my purpose. And I started to work for some organizations. I was in sports and I was in
Mm-hmm.
software. These are
Mm-hmm.
traditionally extremely male environments.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know the ratio off the top of my head. I know that in STEM, that
Yeah.
74% of STEM people that work in the field of STEM are men,
Yeah.
and 75% of them are white.
Yeah.
So, sports is advancing in that, but I started 20 some years ago. It wasn't like that. And
Yeah.
so I was turned down for a lot of opportunities and was told it was because I was a girl. I was told that it
Wow.
was because I wouldn't have the same connection to maybe the athletes, or I wouldn't have the same connection to the sport because I was a girl and I didn't play at an elite level, things like that. And those things just, they made me so mad, Shashni. Like
Ah.
I just got anger, and I didn't at the time know what to do with the anger.
Yeah.
It just festered and I internalized it. And later in my career, I started to kind of get this shoulders back confidence of your 30s, whatever it is. And I had this opportunity to speak, which was not something I wanted to do. I
Mm-hmm.
had been given an opportunity to speak at a sales meeting and in front of 800 people 2 weeks into my job.
Wow.
Yes, and I was mortified. And even in the practice session, we practiced. They brought us in a coach from, I believe, from Stanford, if I remember correctly. They brought in a coach to help us, and everybody did so great. And I went up there and just started bawling, like yes, my nerves just. And so now I'm crying in front of the leaders of our company, in front of my coworkers, and I'm so mortified. And now I'm even more scared to get up on that stage. And I did it. I got up on the stage. It was not great, but I
Mm-hmm.
did it. But the
Mm-hmm.
beautiful thing was the people in the room could feel what I was feeling. Every
Okay.
bundle of nerve that I have was like bouncing off of my skin in a visual way. So
Yeah.
the feedback I got afterwards was actually really positive. Now, it wasn't that I was this buttoned up speaker who was like, yes, and we will do this, and here's point number one. No, my speech was a mess, but I did show up as myself, and
Mm-hmm.
people responded to that. And that was really the first hint that I had that, what was that? What could I do with this? Right. And
Mm-hmm.
later, in producing my own events for the company and doing these big things, we had small budgets. And so
Mm-hmm.
the woman that we wanted to hire to speak, we could not afford.
Okay.
I knew the content very well. And so we just said, why don't you do it? So I had to get in front of an audience six
Mm-hmm.
times in one day. So 6 hours, 1 hour
Yeah.
each. And I
Yeah.
had to present on the economy of gender in sport. This idea of where women and getting them into sports, not just as a play, because we already have that, right? 1972, Title IX in the United States gave full access to girls and women to play sports at an equal level in high schools and colleges, right?
Mm-hmm.
It really opened up this dynamic for women in sports, but also women in the world, right? It allowed us more ability to compete, to be the type of person who wanted to run over somebody on the soccer field and wasn't chastised for it because it wasn't ladylike, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't becoming of a girl or a lady or a woman. And that gave women this level of confidence, which we know from all of the studies. And so I identified with that and was working in that. So I presented this. 6 hours. Every hour got better. Not to toot my own horn, but every hour got better.
You
I
probably
felt,
rocked. You probably rocked that last one, right? You probably
yes.
was on
Oh,
your
yeah.
game.
The last one, it was like I knew the questions that were coming up. I could see the people in the audience that weren't with me and I could pull them in. Like it went really well. And
Yeah,
afterwards, all of these accounts that we had came up to me
yeah.
and said, we need you to come to our business and give this presentation to our staff because they need to hear this. They need to feel this. They need to be
Mhm.
part of this. And I ended up going on a nationwide tour doing just that across the US, where I would get to go and speak to these optical accounts in the eyewear industry and talk about women and talk about the challenges that we face and the abilities as women who are taking over the world. We're responsible for 80% of all purchases, which means we're keeping this economy going, right?
Yeah.
The global economy relies on women. I identified so much with this content. And the thing that came out of it was this authenticity because I identified with it. As I went on that nationwide tour, it was like 30 people in an audience, maybe at the max 50. I was in North Carolina, which is in the southern part of the United States. And I was there for a week. And every day I did a different session for about 35 people. And they were at restaurants, bars, bowling alleys. But at the end of the week, I had one, and it was supposed to be about 35 people, maybe 40.
Hmm.
People started calling each other at their offices that week and saying, have you gone to this yet? If you haven't, please go. And that
Yeah.
last session, 437 people showed up.
Wow.
I was sweating. I had the cutest outfit on, Sheshni. Like I looked really good, but then I just started sweating and like, but I got up there and it was the single best one I had ever done.
Well done.
Thank you. The audience was connected. They were
Yeah.
nodding their heads. They were laughing because I like to get them laughing. And it felt really good. So when I walked off the stage, sweating, heart racing, out of
Yeah.
breath, right? It was an hour-long presentation. I, I, I like stood on the ground and I planted my feet in the ground and out loud I said, holy crap, this must be what Beyonce feels like. It was just that moment of this is my purpose. This is what
Yeah.
I have to do for the rest of my life. And it was because that authenticity that I had, I never had to apologize for it after that moment.
Yeah.
I was speaking about something I loved. I was
Hmm.
speaking about things that had happened to me in my career and in my life, but I
Hmm.
was using it to inform a way that we could look at addressing women, treating women, and servicing women in a different way and in a productive way. Because if we think that 80% of all purchases in the US or in the globe are informed or made by women, and yet 90% of the manufacturers in the world are men, there's a disconnect in the products and services that we receive
Yeah.
as women, right?
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
and you're a woman, you feel that every day.
Yeah.
So
No,
imagine
absolutely.
if you could be part of that change.
Yeah.
Imagine if you could be part of educating people
Hmm.
to say it doesn't have to be this way. I was high every day on that. I really was. And then when I came back, I started to deal with different companies and different people, and people started to hire me on my own. I started my own business to do it. And I started to speak in schools, for organizations, for nonprofits, universities. And in one of these instances, a very high up leader said to me, I, as we were working through consulting and coaching and doing all of these things, why do we hire women in leadership positions if we're a men's brand? And it hit me in my chest so hard, it was as if I had the wind knocked out of me.
Wow.
Because if that is what this leader thought, after hearing what I had to say, after hearing all of the data, all of the
Hmm.
information that supports what I'm saying, that
Yeah.
supports the fact that when men and women are in equal leadership positions, companies
Yeah.
earn on average 41% more revenue,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Definitely.
So you
Yeah.
hear this information when schools have equitable opportunities for girls, communities are brought out of poverty, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whole communities rely on the success of women. We are more than 50% of this country. And yet, this leader who I could potentially work for one day is
Mm-hmm.
telling me that I don't have value in his organization. And the people in the room knew that I would respond. Everybody knew me well enough to turn around and look at me. Like I feel like you could hear the wind whip when their heads turned, right? And somebody tried to speak up for me. And their response was, I love having women on the team because they get to sell women's product and help me do it. And my response was, why do I have to sell both and do twice as much work for you as you? When we are in the same jobs or we make the same money, but you
Yeah.
only want to do men's products, that does
Yeah.
not make sense either, right? Just
Mm-hmm.
because I'm a woman does not mean that I can't educate myself on the needs and desires of what men are going to want in the products that I sell and market and make out, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that was the belief in at least in that room and in that space of the men that were in that room. And I left very upset, very emotional, which is not received well when you're emotional in a work environment, right? Or a
Yes,
professional
definitely for sure.
environment. But I wasn't sad. I was frustrated. I was angry. I wanted to know how somebody could think that, how I could have a 20-year career and then have people tell me that it's not of value unless it's in a feminine space.
Mm-hmm.
And I went home and I talked to some of my closest friends about like, what would you do in this situation? What would you tell a client? What would you tell a boss? What would you tell a leader? Um, I told that leader how I thought about that comment. I told them that it was limiting to me in my career and that if I ever wanted to work for that company, right,
Yeah.
or be with that company, that I didn't believe I had a future with them. And what do I tell the girls who report under me? What do I tell them about their future when they're just at
Yeah.
the beginning stages? And
Mm-hmm.
it didn't sit well with me. And that day was the day I realized that I had to follow this company through. I had to build this business up and use my voice and my ability to speak and my comfort with talking to
Yeah.
not just help other women, which was a big thing for me. I really wanted that, but that it was going to help me in my future career as well. That it was
Yeah.
me standing up for myself and doing that. And I started my company, I built it up, and I didn't know what to do yet. I wasn't an entrepreneur by trade. You know, it wasn't my goal to start my own business. I was quite scared of it, as a lot of women
Yeah.
are.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I just felt such a calling to it. I felt such a place that I couldn't I couldn't continue to work for companies and brands who didn't
Mm-hmm.
value me as a woman, not just a person or an employee, but as a woman and what I brought to the table.
So let me just give you a halt a little bit, right?
Yeah.
It's something really, really important you're sharing right now. And before I go to my thoughts on this, I have someone on the line, just some comments for you, Dawn. So Rudo, who she's from South Africa, that's great, Dawn. Sometimes authenticity is the best. People connect to real, raw emotions and words from
Mm,
the heart.
amen.
And that's true, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you're an empath, right?
Mm, yeah.
If you're an empath, you connect more to words and feelings and emotions.
Yeah.
So, do you think it was more of that leader not accepting who you were?
In the
And
moment, yes.
yeah,
In the moment. As I've had space,
yeah,
I think it is a naivete
mm-hmm,
on the part of that leader and
yeah,
a let's call it a block or
mm-hmm,
a, a block in his vision to
mm-hmm,
see what diverse teams could build up. And
mm-hmm,
that diversity, it's such a big word right now: diversity, inclusion, equity, justice. They're really big buzzwords, but at the end of the day, for me, it's about the equity. The equity
yeah,
level is the important level because it's about providing opportunities on an equal level for people. And when
yeah.
we have that equity, we're able to showcase, because there is a difference in our genders.
Oh
Whatever
yeah, no,
people
for
like to
sure.
say, There
Yeah.
is a difference, and we each bring something unique to the table because of that.
And that is across the world. It is not just in
Across
the
the
US.
world.
It's
Yes,
across the world, right? I have been
definitely.
in big corporate companies as well. I still am in big corporates as well. And it doesn't matter, in the level that you are and the job that you do, there's definitely that disparate. I think over the years it's definitely have come closer,
Sure,
but there still is a very distinct disparity between the two, for sure.
sure.
Absolutely.
And
That hasn't changed much. Yeah.
a lot of that is based on long held um, assumptions, stereotypes,
I think,
mores
yeah.
that in modern culture don't hold water anymore,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You when I speak, I talk about education levels. In the United States, women are getting educated at a level that has never been before seen, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
In when you talk about high school valedictorians, there are more girls who are high school valedictorians than men now, boys now,
Hmm.
excuse me. At the college level, women are graduating with bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, PhDs at
Yeah.
higher levels than men.
Yeah.
So we're getting educated, and yet our salaries do not match our education,
Yep.
right? There's
Yeah.
still a huge pay gap. Don't even get me into the conversation of women of color and the pay gap, right?
Let's not go. Let's not go there.
It's huge, right?
Yeah.
But it's also about the way in which we're offered opportunities.
Yeah.
Because I worked in traditionally male environments, a
Yeah.
lot of times it was hard to connect with the male leadership
Yeah.
because we didn't have that. I hate using this word because it sounds more negative than it is, but that bro culture. We
Hmm.
didn't have that. Let's go on the golf course and swing a golf club together, or let's let's talk about disgusting things in the office, like let's do those things. There was always this layer in between me and male leaders that I could
So
never connect in the same way.
we had something called the Boys Club. Let me
Hmm.
just share that out there, right?
Please.
And it's called the Boys Club. Um, Majority of my career, I have been, and I don't know if you know this, Don, I have been in mining.
Oh wow.
Yeah, totally dominated male
Yeah.
environment.
Yeah.
And I was sitting at the top as well with all men, leave alone being a woman of color, being a woman at the table, right?
Yeah.
And it's a male dominant industry.
Yeah.
Although there has been a little shifts and a little bit changes here and there, the
Sure.
woman in the mining industry is definitely being recognized right now, but also very, and it also depending on the industries that we go into, you'll
Mm.
see that imbalance that's there. We have a question for you, Don, just before you
Sure.
continue.
Sure.
I'm gonna try to pronounce this right, guys. It is my utmost apologies if I get this name wrong. Is it Amber Hutchman? And she says, how do you empower girls in a similar positions? Has you where to break a barrier or have a tough conversation if they're in a similar position as you are?
You know, that is part of what I do now. So, with this organization, Eliminate Girl Hate, that I own, we are talking to organizations and businesses, but we're also talking to individuals and trying to empower the female individual to be
Hmm.
able to understand how to use her voice, but how to
Yeah.
use it in an authentic way. So,
Hmm.
I don't do any sort of coaching that is already baked. Every bit of the coaching is customized to the person because there is no one answer to these questions. The
Yeah.
truth of the matter is that you've got to be able to uh, provide people the confidence that they need and give them the space to be able to live in that and to find it for themselves. You know, all of that time of speaking for other people without having a purpose behind it, I now understand how that could be noise, but I
Yeah.
internalized it as that my voice wasn't important. And
Yeah.
so it's you know, a lot of times when I'm working with girls, it's finding out what they care about first,
Yeah.
right? Even women, a lot of women of our age and older still don't know what they care about
Hmm.
outside of their family. They've been
Yep.
conditioned, right? I do a lot of work with people helping them find their why. And when we do that work, women and men, by the way, always say their family is their why.
Yeah. No. Listen. So yeah, we
By
can
the
we can
way,
talk about that, right?
yeah.
Because
And by the way, that's not wrong.
yes,
If
yes.
that's what they love, I'm not judging anybody for that.
Mm-hmm.
But when you
Mm-hmm.
talk about a why, it's about something deeper. It's
Yeah.
something that isn't dependent on another human being. It's
Mm-hmm.
not dependent on anybody else but what you have in
Mm-hmm.
your context, right? So that as
Yeah.
people come and go out of your life, as we experience trauma, as we experience loss, our why gets to still be there because it's embedded in who we are. And so I
Yeah.
think finding that why becomes the first step, because a lot of women are not given the space to
Mm-hmm.
explore their why
Mm-hmm.
outside of a traditional gender norm.
Yeah.
We're expected for it to be family. We're expected for it to be these things. And we're conditioned that way by our communities and by our societal norms, if you will.
So I always tell people, friends, family, colleagues, women that I coach as well, and you know, a lot of people. I see you,
Mm-hmm.
no one else.
Yep.
I see you as
Yeah.
an individual. I
Yep.
see you as a person and as a human being.
Mm.
I don't see your family. I don't see your husband or your partner or your wife. I see
Your
you.
lipstick, your
Yeah,
makeup, your hair, your jewelry,
yeah,
your clothes. Who
yeah,
cares, right? We're
yeah, yeah.
conditioned, but who cares? And
And
I
that's,
think, go
but the
ahead.
thing is that it's being an individual by you, right? And when you discover that why, right, it's literally, it is about you. It's
Mm-hmm.
not about anyone else around you who's helped you, who supports you, who holds your hand, who coaches you, who
Mm-hmm.
is at the work. It's not about that.
Yep.
And I always tell, and I always, you know, even when I'm with, you know, with couples, or if I have to invite the husband over, or if I have to invite the wife over, I don't have to invite a couple. I'm inviting the person because I
Yep.
see the person. I see
Yeah.
you, right?
It's
And
beautiful.
people find it very hard to understand why I do that. They
Mm-hmm.
don't, and I've come across a lot of people. I've come across a very close friend of mine. She doesn't know why I do that until one day it clicked to her when she
Mm-hmm.
realized why I see you and not them and
Yeah.
the family. So
And
it's
that click
it's
moment is so big.
yeah, but it's that shift, and to your point, you know, Amber, that's what it starts with: empowerment of girls. And when you want to break barriers, it's got to do with confidence, like Dawn has mentioned, but it's also got to do with what is it that you want.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
when you ask yourself that, that answers a lot of questions going forward.
it does, but it's a hard conversation and it's a long conversation. It doesn't
Conversation,
happen
it is.
overnight. And we all want the quick answer and all
The-
of those things, and
yeah,
it doesn't happen. And, I was talking to this woman a couple weeks ago, and we talked about this idea that it's about permission.
yeah.
And everything that I do is about providing permission. And these people, these women, they don't need permission from me.
Hmm.
But there is something in us that needs to be told that we have permission,
Mm,
because we have, and it's a lot about language and the things that we grow up with. So when we
yeah,
grow up as women, we are consistently told things, that we have to act a certain way. We're
yeah.
told that girls are seen and not heard. That's a
Hmm.
big one that's heard.
Yeah.
That we should be prim and proper, that we should sit up
Hmm.
straight, that we shouldn't be out in the dirt hanging out with the boys, that we should ask for permission to raise our hand, whereas boys are a little bit rowdier in school, right? But oftentimes it is the girls that get the report card comments that say we're too talkative, we're too aggressive, we're bossy, right? There was a whole social media campaign on that, hashtag ban bossy, right?
Yeah.
um, and we're told all of these things, and again, the people who are telling them to us
Mm.
oftentimes don't mean it that way, but we've been conditioned as a society to believe that that's the way that we talk to kids.
Yeah.
I At the park the other day, I heard somebody say, well, my little ponies aren't for boys. Why not? It's a pony. Like, it doesn't matter. Like it's a freaking horse. Who cares, right? But it's this idea that there's certain things boys
Yeah.
shouldn't do and there's certain things that girls shouldn't do. And even though boys also get that, they're given so much permission throughout their
Yeah.
life to explore what they should do, to get their hands dirty, to wrestle on the ground, to fight for what they want. And oftentimes, as women, we don't get that same permission, and it becomes incumbent upon ourselves to give ourselves that permission or to find spaces and places that support us with that permission. You know, the coaching group that you are and I are in, we talk about this all
Mhm.
of the time. It's
Yeah.
given us space, it's given us grace to say out loud the things that we want, the things that we've never thought we could say out loud, and have other people, especially the women in this group, have been so supportive of me to reach out and say, yes, that you belong there, you should take up this space, let me help you, right? And we're conditioned, the other thing that we're conditioned is to not do that with other women. We
Mm-hmm.
are constantly told that there's only so much space for us to fill. So if I win, another woman has to lose. And that is a myth, right?
Mm-hmm.
For example, if there's 5 open jobs in IT, for example, the women at the company all fight each other for one job. Instead of thinking, what if all 5 of those jobs went to women?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we have to change our thinking and realize that there is no space and there is no place that we cannot exist 100% whole as we are in our own power, in our own position, in our own voice. There's no place that we cannot do that. And there is no limit to how many of those roles we can fill. That is a, a moray that we've put up there that's not true. It's just not
Yeah.
real. And we
Yeah.
have to keep telling ourselves and the women in our lives that that's not true. Let's go win this together. Let's go
Yeah.
get those promotions together. Let me help you and you help me. And we'll both go get that job. And we're just not conditioned to do that. And it is a self hatred. As much as we don't like to use that word, I got a lot of pushback initially about using the word hate in my company name and using it in my logo. But the truth that is out there is that that is what we're facing. It may be guised in a bunch of different things, and it may be dressed up and put some lipstick on it and make it look a different way. But the truth of the matter is those are the messages that we get from our earliest age. Our
Mm-hmm.
mothers got those messages, our grandmothers got those messages, right? And we're just continuing in that tradition. And until more of us stand up and say, that is a tradition that we need to let go of, we will
Mm-hmm.
continue to find ourselves in these unequitable spaces. And yes, we need advocates, we need mentors, and we need men to join us and understand that by us taking up space, it does not take space away from them. It
Yeah.
betters the whole community. We know that every statistic you can find, go to the World Health Organization, go to UNICEF, look up these stats on gender, go to the United States of America, the president's office, and look at their forum on gender equity and what they're trying to do. The research is out there to prove that. This fear that people are going to be replaced is not accurate. It's not real. And it is incumbent upon us to continue to put that messaging into the lexicon so that people stop limiting what we're able to do. And that's why I started this company. I called it Eliminate Girl Hate because
Do you
when we
wanna
are,
you
oh,
wanna
my
stand
shirt,
up and
my
yeah, let's
shirt.
do that.
um, I called it that. And actually, a lot of people ask about the logo. Why did I choose a heart? Why did I do all of these things? Why did I choose hate? I chose to use the word girl instead of woman because
Mhm.
there is a girl in all of us, no matter how old
Yeah.
we get. Personally, I'd rather be called girl than ma'am, if I'm being very honest with you. Just makes me feel better about myself. But it's also where our pain started.
Yeah.
All of our trauma and pain starts when we're young. And so it's addressing that inner girl and the hate that
Mhm.
that girl feels that is going to make for empowered women later on. And the heart
Absolutely.
and the heart is because that is what it is about. It is about showing up authentically in ourselves showing up authentically as who we are, and coming at everything we do, whether it's our family, our personal life, our relationships, and our work, that we come at it with heart and authenticity. That is how we
Yeah.
succeed. That's how we move forward. But it's also how we move forward with balance and kindness and grace. So often we provide those things to other people and then crap all over ourselves. Pardon the expression, right?
But that's exactly what it is,
It's
right?
the
We do
truth. We
that.
we tell
Yeah.
everybody else how wonderful they are, and then we
Yeah.
tell ourselves what pieces of crap we are. And
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not a true narrative. And
Yeah.
I often ask the people I coach, "Are you a jerk?" And they get, "No, I'm not a jerk." Then why are you treating yourself as if you're a jerk?
That jerk. Yeah.
Would you treat somebody else that way? Like, what makes you such a horrible person that you do not deserve all of the
Mm.
things that life has to offer you? You don't deserve the career that you want. You don't deserve the place that you want. And yes, I don't believe everybody, a woman can have everything. I think that's such a weird statement. I think you can have everything you want that is meant for you and that is authentic to you. If you show up and you believe in that, and that you find the spaces that make you live in that truth. But so often we, for some reason, see ourselves drifting towards places that are telling us lies.
Yeah.
And that is internalized as self-hate. So for me, this concept of going out and using my voice to speak my stories for women, to, for, and about women, I get to help remind myself what an amazing person I am. And I also get to remind other women that they are amazing. And there is something about that that has just completely transformed my life and my work.
Yeah.
And,
No,
and I love
absolutely.
that. Yeah.
So, wow, Dawn, I think there's so much. We can talk. You and I sit
We
on
always do.
call for hours, right? And
Mhm.
and we just support each other, and we just
Yeah,
talk, and
it's
you
beautiful.
know and just unpack it. I just have another comment, another question for you, Dawn. So Rido says, what if you might know your purpose, but you are not that confident? And how do you stand strong in your purpose? Is it just a mindset and unlearning what the world has told us?
Mm, beautiful question, by the way. I think it is all of those things that you said, but it's
Hmm.
also, again, it's about surrounding yourself with people who can identify and see your purpose as well.
Yeah.
One of the things that we like to say in our groups is that we are shamed in community and we're
Hmm.
damaged in community. So
Hmm.
we have to heal in community. So
Hmm.
this idea that we've been in jobs or educational institutions or places that have said to us, you're not enough and what you're doing isn't enough. And we
Hmm.
think we know our purpose, but we keep it silent. We hold
Hmm.
it internal. And it isn't until you start speaking that purpose out loud and you start asking people, right? You're asking people, this is my purpose. Can you help? Do you want
Yeah.
to come along? You have to continually tell your story till it ad nauseum to whoever will listen, because you're going to find these voices that come in and say, I can see it. And the second someone sees you for what you're put on earth for, the
Yeah.
mindset changes. You can't force it. You can't I mean,
Yeah.
I shouldn't say this. There are experts who know way more about mindset than me. So, yes, learning how to be mindful, all of those things are really important. But it is about getting the validation that you need from
Hmm.
places that are safe, because
Hmm.
you'll validate yourself when you put yourself in safe spaces. And it doesn't
Hmm.
mean that tomorrow you go out and say, and you don't support me, we're no longer friends. That's not what it means, right?
Yeah.
But it is finding those spaces where you can build that confidence so that when you are around the people who don't support you, you can better articulate that in a way that can help you have a real conversation on how to change that and how to get
Yeah.
support from those people. Because oftentimes we're just miscommunicating in what
Hmm.
we're telling each other and how we're living, and we're not hearing each other. And the more confident you get in who you are and who your purpose is, the easier it is to articulate that to other people in ways that are not off-putting, in ways that are not challenging, and in ways that are not about them and what they're doing wrong, but they're
Hmm.
about you and who you are and what your needs are. We cannot move forward in our purpose without asking for what we need.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. We have just another comment as well. Remind yourself and remind others how amazing you are. So,
You speak it
yeah,
out loud. You
amen.
say your truth. It's
Yeah,
so
say your truth.
beautiful.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
So, that's the thing with, and Dawn, going back to, to some of the comments you've made, and that is why I created open mic, right? If
Yeah.
you cannot be real and authentic and speak your truth, what are you here to do?
There's that expression that says, I might mess it up, but it's like, speak even if your voice shakes,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Oh,
You
yeah.
still speak. And I love
Yeah.
that expression because I am such an emotional person
Yeah.
that sometimes people misinterpret that emotion
Mm-hmm.
and they get turned off by it, which I'm very aware of. But it's so embedded in me because
Mm-hmm.
I feel all of that, and I want it to come across. And so
Mm-hmm.
I had to learn to speak through tears instead of running away from them, because I
Yeah.
was so embarrassed by it all the time. I would stop myself immediately, and I still struggle with this, right? I'm always like, I'm so sorry, I'm crying. I don't know why I'm crying. I do know why I'm crying. I care about these things, and I feel so strongly about them that for me
Yeah.
it brings in an emotion, and my body is saying, don't hold this in.
Yeah.
Get it out, because if you hold it in, you are going to get sick.
Yeah.
This is meant to come out. And I've learned, or I'm learning, it's a constant lesson, to embrace that part of me,
Mm-hmm.
to think of it as a power
Mm-hmm.
instead of a limit or a
Mm-hmm.
roadblock, and to make people understand that it's okay to have emotion, that it's okay to use your voice, it's okay to be who you are. The truth is, not everybody's going to like it, and that is okay. Not
Mm-hmm.
everybody likes mint chocolate chip ice cream. I think that's crazy. I love it.
Chocolate
I
chip
could eat
ice
it
cream.
every day. Yeah, I could eat that every single day. But other people my sister thinks it's disgusting. So there's somebody for everybody. And there
Yeah.
is somebody who will help you come into your purpose. There are people there that are your support system, that are going to be there. And it's about not trying to get that support from everybody,
Mm-hmm.
but getting the support from the people who can see you and who are seeing the authentic you, and not being afraid to ask them, I need this right now. I want this right now. And surrounding yourself with those types of things. It becomes so empowering that it makes it difficult to ignore your purpose.
I see you, Dawn. I
I
do.
love that. I see you too, Shashni.
I mean, we've grown so much over these last 2 months, and it's been an
Yeah.
incredible journey that, we've been part of this amazing group.
Yeah.
And it's opened up a whole, new avenue for the way that we think.
Yeah.
I also say, Dawn, that, when you speak your truth, it's a sense of healing for yourself, but
Mm,
it also gives other people a sense of healing of that you're not alone,
yes.
right? And
Yeah.
the more you keep it in, the more ill you become. And
Yes.
we are built in a society, and humanity in as a whole, right, is that you respect others by not sharing,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? Because they
Yeah.
can't handle it.
Yep.
So yeah, I've and hence why I've created open mic.
Yeah.
That's why you on here. Echo your
Well,
voice.
and
People need to hear you.
to say something to that, we're putting our beliefs onto somebody that aren't true.
Yes.
We
Yes.
think that they don't want to hear what we say. We
Mm-hmm.
think they don't care. We
Mm-hmm.
think they won't understand.
Mm-hmm.
That's our own hang up. We haven't even
Yep.
given them the chance to respond in a positive way for us because we've been
Yeah.
conditioned to believe that that's not true. And I
Yeah.
don't want to believe that anymore. I don't want to take those conditions anymore and believe in them. I want to sit there and say, okay, here it is, warts and all. take it or leave it. Right now, you have to do that with a grain of salt. We still live in a world that does have social things, right? If I
Yeah.
had come on here and I was dressed slovenly, or, not like just woke up or something like that, people are going to perceive that in certain ways. And so perception is a big deal. But as
Mhm.
long as you're going into your truth, and you're doing it in a way that isn't accusatory, that isn't blaming, that isn't trying to put your stuff on somebody else,
Mhm.
even if the results aren't what you want, the process was good. The process had value in it. You learn
Mhm.
something about yourself. They learn something about themselves. You grow from that experience. You know how to do something better the next time, right? That, and again, I keep repeating these words, but it comes down to space, and it comes down to grace, and it comes to permission, and
Mhm.
giving ourselves permission to be fully who we are, warts and all, talk chatty box and all, right? This is me, take it or leave it. But
Yeah.
I hope that you take it. I hope that you take part of it at least. And you can see something in me that is like, okay, she's kind of chatty, but I really like some of the things she had to say, or I really like her spirit, or whatever that is, right?
Yeah.
That's how we get healing as communities.
Yeah. Dawn, we can go on for hours.
Yes, we
And I just
could.
want to say thank you so much. But before we go off, I have a few questions. It's gonna be like firing wrap-up questions to
Woo!
hit you,
Okay.
so
I'm
that we're
ready.
gonna get to know Dawn a little bit more just to
Mhm.
end off this call. So I just
Okay.
have 5 questions. It's quick questions, and let's see how quick we can get to it, right?
Okay.
First question. What do people get wrong about you?
That's a scary question. Um, I think some people think I'm weaker than I am because of how
Mm-hmm.
emotional I am. That
Ah,
they see it as a weakness, and that I
yeah.
can't handle life. And
Okay.
I'm a pretty strong person. I've been through a lot, as we all have, and those have
Okay.
made me a lot stronger than they think I am.
Fantastic. What are you excited about at this moment?
This. I was I was so nervous to start. I was doing my superhero pose. I was
Yeah.
pacing, but I'm excited to have conversations with other women
Yeah.
that are open and honest, and they're about living truth. I just think that's really exciting.
Okay. What has the pandemic taught you?
Mm. The pandemic has been tough for the world,
Mm-hmm.
and tough for me. I can't say that it hasn't, but it's also been this beautiful blessing in
Mm-hmm.
that it has allowed me to heal. I had some healing that I needed to do, and some
Mm-hmm.
grieving that I needed to do. It's
Mm-hmm.
allowed me to find places and spaces and groups and people that can
Yeah.
help me on the next step of my journey. And it's allowed me to believe that there is a next step in my journey.
I got you. Don't you worry. I got you back.
Thank you.
Okay. Fourth question. What do you think is one stereotype that we should let go of? The first thing that comes to mind.
That women are somehow weak.
Okay. Okay. And the last question. Who inspires you?
You know, there are a lot of people, there are a lot of people who inspire me.
Yeah.
I I I like to say that whoever my last conversation was with is who is inspiring at the moment. So right now that would be you, right? Because I have all, you have all those people that you look up to. Like
Yeah.
our coach Harris, I am very inspired by him. I'm inspired by Kid President and Brad Montague, and I'm inspired by all of these women that are coming into the fold. Ellen P.K. Powell, you've got all of these women in STEM, you've got Sheryl Sandbergs of the world, Sophia Bush, I'm really into right now. If you don't know,
Okay.
she's an American actress, but she's doing
Yeah.
a lot in the gender space. She's super inspiring me. But the true inspiration comes from the conversations that I have with real people that are in
Yeah.
that daily struggle, that are
Yeah.
trying to be their best selves. And every single time I have a conversation with someone about these things, I take something as part of me that kind of brings me to the next level.
Yeah. Oh, well said. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you. This
Guys,
has been wonderful.
yeah, guys, thank you so much for joining everyone. Dawn's always available. Guys, she's on the Facebook group, she's on Instagram. You guys can tag her. If you
Yeah.
guys are looking for Dawn to come and speak at any of your events and have some inspiring and phenomenal conversations and just to listen to Dawn and to get some type of confidence back and believe again, right? I
Yeah.
mean, guys, tagged on. She is available. She
Yeah,
may
you
be on the other.
can find us
Okay.
at Eliminate Girl Hate. It's eliminate_girl hate on
Yeah.
Instagram. The website
Yeah.
is Eliminate Girl Hate. If you want to
Yeah.
just follow me as an individual, you can. It's my full name
Yeah.
on Instagram. So whatever you like, I'd love to hear from people.
I think, Dawn, what you can do is send people, tag people on at the Facebook group, the website address and
Yeah,
your handles and things like that so
of
that can
course.
follow you.
Of course.
And then definitely, have a look and see, for them to, if there's a way or an email address that can get a hold of you if they're looking for you, please put it
Perfect.
down into the chats.
Perfect.
What a powerful conversation. Thank you for your authenticity and sharing your truth. I am definitely
Oh,
inspired. Oh, that's so,
oh,
thank you
thank
so
you.
much, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think sharing and inspiring people that have been through this and, wants to make a difference in the world is here.
Mhm.
We are bringing these people out and we want people to come into open mic and, to come and join us and to share your stories and to share the challenges and what are some of the things that you're going through and what are some of the things, solutions that you're bringing to this as well,
Yeah.
because that's what it's all about, right? Because we're all
Yeah.
about learning. Dawn and I have had so many beautiful conversations and
Yeah.
we just inspire as we go along and we help each other, we connect and we collaborate. I'm hoping to meet Dawn next year in New York. She's going to
Yeah.
be coming to the open mic exhibition that we're hosting in New York next year, and it's absolutely fantastic that I can collaborate, with people like Dawn to come here and to share what it's like to be on the other side and what are some of the challenges that one is facing on the other side of the ocean, because
Yeah.
we are no different.
No, we
Absolutely,
are
we are no
not.
different.
No, we are not.
Absolutely
And
not.
this
We're
is
not.
proof of
Yeah.
that. We all have the same things.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
all do. Dawn, I want to say thank you so much for
Mm.
waking up so early in
No
Portland
problem.
and, the collaboration we did this week. And I look forward to the work that you're putting out there. If Open Mic can help you in any way to raise that voice and to echo it in any other way, we're here for you and,
Thank you.
we know we support you. And I said to you, if you're in South Africa, happy for you, to come through and support. And I said to you, my home is open to you and
Yeah.
we're going to rock this world.
Yes, we are. And I really appreciate you and the Open Mic Foundation. What you guys are doing, bringing stories to life and using them. That is how we change the world, is through storytelling. So I think it's a beautiful thing that you're doing. And I'm just
Yeah.
honored to be a part of it.
Oh, thank you
Yeah.
so much.
You're
Thank you so
welcome.
much.
You're
It's going to
welcome.
be amazing to see, Dawn has written an article in the Storytellers Journal, guys. So have a look at that. If I'm not mistaken, Dawn, I think it was third edition or the fourth edition.
Fourth edition.
Fourth edition, Dawn has put out an article that's there in the fourth edition. You'll be able to get it onto the Open Mic Foundation's website. You'll see it's there. Her contact details are there, but she will definitely tag you guys in this group as
Yeah.
well. Dawn, I want to say
Awesome.
have a fantastic day today.
Thank
I look
you.
forward to tomorrow because we're on the call. And I want to wish everyone that stayed onto this call, thank you so much for joining. Please
Thank you.
subscribe to our YouTube channel. Send it out far and wide as possible and help us create more awareness about the foundations and the stories that we are bringing. Dawn, thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks,
Bye
guys. Have
bye.
a great evening, everyone.
Bye bye.
Take care. Bye.